Hey you guys, so I've been working on the pedals today and I already got the brake pedal, the gas pedal mounted up here. I just got a universal kind of hot rod pedal. I needed a pretty skinny one because there's not a whole lot of room between the steering column and the trans tunnel, but there's enough room for the toe of my foot to go in there wearing a tennis shoe, so it won't be too bad. But the pedal I got, it's splined so you can adjust the angle of the rod that grabs the throttle cable. So I just made this quick and easy little L bracket with a couple of nut certs, welded it to the firewall, and that's all she wrote. Nice and easy, super simple. Pedal will sit right about here. It's got a pivot on it that's sprung, so it'll be real nice. Right here, the pivot arm there is vertical, a little past vertical, and that should work pretty decent. Go through here with the throttle cable, which puts it right in line with the carbs. So that was super simple to do. Real easy here. And so now what I've been doing is working on the brake pedal. So I have this super cool 90-degree setup here. So got your brake pedal here that you'll weld a brake pad onto, like a foot pad, and it's a 90-degree setup. So the brake booster master cylinder combo, or just master cylinder if you're running it, it's got bolts for either way, sits at a 90 degrees under the dash, so this doesn't have to hang out in the engine bay and completely ruin the look of everything going on in there. And you can see the action here. Just pivots, translates that. Super simple. So I went ahead and used the Porta band here to make some brackets that are the same thickness as the bracket for the pedal. Got them nice and rounded off. I nut-certed the pedal bracket on this side, and then on this side I nut-certed the bracket itself. It'll make installation nice and easy. And these holes were different sizes on the pedal bracket itself, and so I couldn't nut-cert both sides of it because the one was a 3/8 and the one was bigger and more inboard. So this is the kind of setup that I came up with here. And so these spaced out 1/4 inch here, they'll just weld straight to the firewall. So now I need to get the pedal up and in there, get the height right, and then get the left and right correct, and I'll tack it in place and then weld it. I'll be able to weld this whole one bolted to the pedal bracket here, and this one with that 1/4 inch gap. I should be able to weld that. If not, I can at least stitch it a bit. I don't want the flange to warp when I'm welding it. So I'd rather weld it connected to the bracket so it stays in shape here. But even such, I'll definitely be able to get this part, and then I can get the top, and then I can always do a couple stitches on the backside first, so when I roll this bead in, it doesn't flex that too much. The other thing I had to do with this is the pedal used to be bent the other direction, and it put the whole assembly too far to the left on the firewall, and so there would be no room for the clutch pedal to hang anywhere. And so I just reversed the bends using my press over there, and once I get this thing mounted up, I can always fine-tune this by taking some bend out or adding some bend. And then the pedal that I got, the universal pedal kit, came with a brake pedal pad and a clutch pedal pad. So I'll be able to have the throttle, brake, and clutch all with matching pads, which will be kind of nice. So you can see this is just left blank, and so it'll be easy to weld on a little nut or bracket that the pedal will bolt to. So that's what I got going on now. I'm going to get this up underneath the dash, get it tacked in, and then I'll get a few little bits of assembly done. I'm also going to build a bracket off of this flange right here that comes forward and braces the steering column on the dash, just for a little extra strength up in there. And then I got the clutch pedal on order, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. So when that comes Monday, or no, well, it's Sunday today, when that comes like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whenever, I'll be able to get all the pedals finished. But once I get the brake pedal all welded in there, I'll get the booster back on, and then I have this proportioning valve here, and this proportioning valve is made for front disc rear drum. And so there's a front, a rear, and two fronts and a rear here for the outlets, as well as some type of electrical switch or connector or something up here. Not sure what that is being used for. And so yeah, basically this has a front brake in, rear brake in, two front brakes out, and a rear brake out. And it provides the correct pressure differential to the front, because if you have discs in front and drums in back, they require different amounts of pressure. So get working on that. So as you can see, I have the throttle pedal and brake pedal mounted and all the brake lines done. There we go, that's much better. So let me show you what we got going on here. Throttle pedal mounted with just a really simple little L bracket, couple of nut certs here. This is just a pretty inexpensive universal hot rod style throttle pedal. And I have this awesome brake pedal mounted up. It's got a little 90-degree jobber here so that the brake booster sits under the dash instead of in the engine bay. And I got the master cylinder mounted up right here with the brake proportioning valve behind it with the little bracket I made. And this is for front disc rear drums. And so this is the passenger side front brake hardline. Goes down to where you saw me plumb it before. And then we have the driver's side front brake line and the rear brake lines come up here together, come down the firewall, and go into their respective unions. So everything turned out real nice. I had to modify the brake pedal here. It used to bend the other way, and so I reversed these two bends so that the steering column goes between the gas pedal and the brake pedal. And we have plenty of room here for the clutch pedal that'll be coming later this week. And I'll have to modify the brake pedal a little bit for a little more travel, but you can see the action of the linkage here. Just transfers that through there. So I'm just gonna have to cut this guy and bring it forward a bit. It's running into the floor right now, and so I'm going to need another probably inch of travel out of it, which is no biggie. And then with the throttle pedal here, I can adjust the height or the distance from the firewall with some spacers behind this guy if need be. So just waiting on the clutch pedal, and then I'll be able to get this whole thing completely finished. And so pretty happy with how everything has turned out. The only thing that I'm not super happy about is the placement of the bulkhead for the rear brake line. Originally I was going to do all the bulkheads just in a row here and bring them over, and then I'd just have a little panel. This is going to be underneath the carpet and underneath the clutch pedal, which will be hanging out in space here. So even as is, even though that one guy's just kind of hanging out in space there, you're not gonna ever get your foot on it and kink it or anything. It's stainless steel hardline, so it is super solid. And like I said, the clutch pedal is going to be over top of it, so there won't be any reason ever that a foot will contact that. But once there's carpet down and everything, it should not be an issue at all. And so I making some good progress on this thing. Next up here, I want to get the dash and the column back in, and I want to make a brace from either where the factory dash brace is or from where the column bolts on, and brace it to the brake pedal bracket here, just to make everything as strong as we can possibly get it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm hoping that I can make the dash pop in here pretty easily. See if I can. All right, let's do this. There we go, easy peasy. It's the first time I've had the dash and steering column back on after I've done the pedals. Obviously I had the column in when I did the throttle pedal to make sure that it was centered nicely and just kind of cleared, and same with this, but I didn't have the brake lines and the booster and everything in there, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. There's plenty of room back here for the gauges, for the radio, everything that's going on. And so you can see this is pretty solid, but it has just that little bit of flex in it. So I'm going to build a bracket that goes between the column drop mount and the brake pedal bracket, and that'll just strengthen everything up.
That rug really tied the room together, did it not?